Okay. All right, you guys, let's get started because we might be waiting for a while. So let's get started. Tell me, you guys, tell me, can you look at the shirt that I'm wearing today? Usually I wear a blue shirt, right? But today I'm wearing a different color shirt. What color am I wearing? What do you think?
Gray.
It's almost like a sand color, right? It's almost like a sand color. And the reason, yeah, it's kind of yellow. And the reason that I'm wearing this color is because today we are going to talk about the desert. Yeah? Who knows what the desert is? Who can tell me what the desert is? Yes, Lana. Lana, you want to tell me what the desert is? We're listening.
The desert is super hot and there's dangerous animals.
Oh, that's very good, Eitan. That's right. The desert is super hot. Super hot. And what else?
Dangerous animals.
Yes, there could be dangerous animals. Like what kind of danger?
Like a bobcat, Gila monster. They got venom, I think.
Wow, you're absolutely right. Yes, there are some animals that live in the desert and they can be very dangerous. Also snakes, right?
And the PU, Mr. Scott.
Yeah, you can sit over here on my knee. Oh, okay, perfect. So
I have even desert socks. I have desert socks.
Yes.
I have a desert shirt.
Yes, there are.
And I got desert pants.
There are snakes that live in the desert.
Rattlesnake.
Mm-hmm. What's hang on a second though. Guys, what's the main thing about the desert that's like it's really hot, and what else is a big problem in the desert? There's not enough what? Water, exactly. That's what a desert is. The desert is a place that doesn't get any rain, right? And if there's no rain, yes, though.
There's no water. Hey, Papa, why
Yes.
are you not wearing anything that looks like a desert?
Oh, well, that's because they don't make those shirts in my size. I tried to find it, but I couldn't, so I have to wear my blue shirt again.
Oh. Hey, what about you, Evil Bad?
You want to bring Evil Bad here? Okay.
Yeah, but you're gonna be.
I'm gonna be both of them?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can be. All right, I can try. All right. Good. All right. Whoa, look at, we're all here.
Hey,
I'm here.
Evil Bad, why are you not wearing anything like a desert?
Oh, because they don't make it in my size, so I just gotta wear the same thing every day. That's a problem. So guys, in the desert, there's no water, right? That's really, really hard. Yes, there are.
There's a little bit of water.
There's a little bit of water. There can be a little bit of rain, or there can be some rivers underground that create some water in the desert. But for the most part, in the desert, there is no water. So what do you think? If we ended up in the desert, like if we jumped out of a plane with a parachute and we landed in the middle of the desert, do you think we could live in the desert for a long time without water?
No.
Why not?
You need to buy a can of water if you want to leave the desert.
You're right. You absolutely have to have water.
And actually, we were at Burning Man, and Burning Man is desert.
Can you open the bottle for me so I can drink some water, please? Thank you. Let's all drink some water. Make sure we're hydrated. All right, Lisa's got water. All right. So we need water, right? And that's one of the hardest things about living and surviving in the desert is you can't really do it. Yes, that's right. We're going to talk about that exactly, Eitan. There are a lot of animals that live in the desert. You mentioned like a Gila monster and a camel and some snakes, and there's
camel's not dangerous.
some beetles and lizards that live in the.
Camel's not dangerous.
No. Yes, they live in the desert, but
actually, guys, you know that I riding a camel with my dad and my mom, and it was so fun. But the camel's kind of stinky, so I didn't really like it.
Yes, the camels are a little bit stinky. So guys,
And I was
since
riding on them.
since
I was sitting on them, and then the 120. I liked the part when he went down and up because he was like, yeah.
Since Eitan brought it up, let's talk about camels. Camel is an animal that can live in the desert very well, unlike many other animals, right? And a camel has something very special that helps it survive in the desert. Do you guys know what that is?
Water in his back.
Yes, what's that called, Eitan? Who knows?
Water in his butt.
The camel has something on his back. And
Это такие как бы штучки. Papa, they look like that. They kind of look like zigzag.
yes, it's called a hump.
Hump.
Hump. Who can? Let's all say that together. Hump. It's like you're eating a sandwich. Hump. 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 Hump.
Hum.
It's called a hump. The camel. When we have extra food and extra water, where do we put it? Like in the refrigerator, or in the cupboard, or in our backpack when we go to the playground. We put some snacks in the backpack, right?
And some water.
You know what the camel does? The camel stores extra energy and water in his hump. In that little thing on his back, right? So the camel doesn't have a refrigerator that it carries around. It doesn't have a cupboard that it carries around. It just keeps its hump full of water and fat.
All the time?
Yes, well, the camel eats and drinks, and then it stores all the extra stuff in the hump. So the camel can go for a long time without drinking and eating because it uses the water and the energy that it collects in its hump. It's got like a natural backpack, like as part of its body, you know? I mean, we have it too. How do we store water and energy? Where do we keep it? Who knows?
In our tummy.
In our bodies. How do we do it?
But then it goes in the toilet. So then we don't have our food anymore.
We store it like the camel does too. We store energy as fat in our bodies. You know how like when we eat a lot of donuts and a lot of cake, we can get fat, right? It means
And we're gonna get like from here.
yeah, getting fat basically means that we ate a whole lot of food, and food is energy, and we didn't use it, so our body stored it as fat. Yes.
Papa, you're too fat. You're fat too a little bit.
I'm a little fat.
Yeah. Look at this.
It's because of the quarantine. I haven't been able to exercise as much as I usually do. So
I
guys,
exercise always at my school.
oh, that's good, Eitan. Exercise is really important.
Actually,
Now, here's the question.
I don't go to school, but when
I exercise at my school.
That's good, and that's actually a
I
really
don't exercise anymore. I just run in the house.
and guys, do you know I have muscles right here? And you can't see them, but you could feel them, and they're really strong. I get them because I do a lot of sit-ups, a lot of push-ups, so I got those.
all right. Like ab muscles, abs.
Guys, I have ab muscles on my tummy, and I'm really strong because I have them, and I could jump like really, really high. I could jump really high and over.
So guys, that's a really good point, Eitan. I really like that you talk about exercise, because if we are in the desert, right? Do we want to exercise? Do we want to run around? Do we want to lift weights? Do we want to do like really hard exercise when we're in the desert? Who can tell me?
No,
Your couch looks like a desert.
That's right, because you'll
Your
get
couch looks like a desert.
yes, you don't want to do hard exercise in the desert, because in the desert it's really, really, really hot. And when it's really, really hot, it can be really dangerous for you to do exercise because your body can't take those hot temperatures. When we exercise, our body temperature actually goes up anyway. And our bodies can't overheat, right? Otherwise, they're not going to work very well. So that's really, really important, okay? Now,
Exercise at the desert.
yeah, you don't want to exercise.
Just running.
Yeah, you don't want to exercise in the desert. So let's talk about, who knows, guys. Today is a holiday called Passover. Who knows what that is? Yeah. Some of us celebrate Passover, and some of us don't celebrate it. Eitan, do you want to tell us about Passover, Eitan? Sounds like you know a lot about it. No? You don't want to tell us?
I want to tell.
Okay, why don't you tell us about Passover, Dove?
But it's really long, so you're...
Well, give us the short version.
It doesn't have any short version.
No? Okay, well, let me give you a
No,
quick...
I'm gonna tell them.
Okay.
So, guys, when it's password, one time when there was no password, there was no password one time, and then there was a really mad king, and there was good people, and the bad king wanted to kill all the good people and be by himself. But then they wanted to run away somewhere, and so they didn't have that king. And then they ran away, but he said to his
servants.
He said to his servants, so they run after them, and so they catch them and kill them. But they ran far, but the servants were following them. And then something really cool happened. There was the ocean, but then the ocean, it split into halves. They run on the street, and then they went over, but when it closed, the bad guys, they couldn't go over because it didn't do it again. And then, but there was a little bit of room. They ran, but then it closed before they were at there. And then the ocean, and it ate them. It didn't really eat them, but they were in the ocean. They were at the bottom, and then but there was no water still, and they couldn't drink the water. But then they wanted to eat more, not water. And then,
all right.
And no,
okay, you have 10 seconds to finish.
And then they wanted to make bread, but they couldn't because there was not a special thing that they needed for bread. And then they made this thing, and then they called it matzah. It was almost like bread. And then they were at the desert, and so me and my dad and my mom were at the desert too. And the desert could be in Israel, in Burning Man, and then they lived happily. Well, they came back then, and then the king, he wasn't there anymore, and so then
3, 2, 1.
They
Okay.
they lived really happily.
Great, thank you very much, Dove. Okay, so Dove was telling us the story.
Is wrong.
And
It's not wrong.
Okay, we're not going to argue about it. The bottom line is what we can agree on, Eitan, right? Is the story of Passover involves the people that spend a long time traveling through the desert. Do we agree on that, Eitan?
It's not the desert. It's Egypt. It's so hot there.
Yes, and they were walking through the desert for how long, according to the story, Eitan? Do you remember?
I know.
There's frogs jumping on King Pharaoh.
Yes, there was some of that going on potentially, but the people that were walking through the desert, they were in the desert for 40 years, right? 40 years? That's a long time to be in the desert. That's almost as old as I am, right? And so those people had to find a way to survive in the desert in this crazy hot climate with very little water, with very little food.
Top houses on the mountains.
Yes, that's right. And that's a really important point, you guys. If you end up in the desert, what do you need? What's really, really important besides water? Water for sure, 100%. Can I have some more water, please?
No.
Please?
No.
Can I have that bottle back? Give me that. You don't have to open it. Just give it. Let me drink it. Let me drink the water.
No!
I need water. I'm dying of thirst. Water! I need water! Give me the water! Give the water. No. Oh.
You want some more?
Yes. Punk. I wouldn't go to the desert with you. You're unreliable. So guys, besides water, it's really important also to have shelter in the desert, right? Who can tell me what shelter is? Anybody know? Lisa, do you know what shelter is?
Here. Here, you can drink.
Eitan? Eitan, do you know what shelter is?
Protection?
That's right, protection. Some sort of roof over your head or some sort of covering or something that's going to protect you from in the desert. What's the most important thing that we need to be protected from?
Door? A door?
What do we need to be protected from in the desert? It starts with an S.
Snakes!
It's 3 letters long. It's up in the sky.
House?
The S-U-N. What does that spell?
Sun.
Sun. That's right. The sun is super hot. And so we need to be protected from the sun. So in order to do that, we need shade, right? We need shelter. We need something that will protect us from like trees.
Special goggles, like they're like this big.
That's right.
And we have those. We use those when we're at the snow ones.
That's right.
They're like this, and then you can still see, but you can't see very well. They could be the glass is not blue. It could be green, orange, red.
Right.
Sometimes blue, but blue has to be something with green, with red.
So the bottom line is the most important things we need in the desert to survive are water and shelter, right? How long can a person survive without water? Who knows? Who can guess? Lisa, how long do you think a person can survive if they don't drink water?
For 1 day.
1 day? What do you...
0 days.
0 days? What do you think, Lisa?
I think 100 million of days.
100 million days?
No, you'll die then.
What about Wyatt? Wyatt, how long do you think we can survive without water?
20 days.
20 days? Okay. I think the reality is that it's about 3 days.
No.
Yes.
No, my mom, нет, мама, она больше тебя, она сказала, что you could only survive for 1 day.
It depends on who you
You
are.
could survive for 1 day or for 1.5 days, but you can't do it for 2 days.
It
2
depends
days
on
is too long.
It depends on who you are, right? So if you are somebody that's already pretty strong and you're generally pretty strong, it might be a little bit easier for you, but if you're like a little baby or a little child or an older person, it might be much harder for you. So it depends on who you are, but the bottom line is we can only survive for a couple of days without water. Who knows how long we can survive without food?
Oh, I don't know.
Can we survive without food for more time than without water, or for less time?
For more.
More, right? Like if we didn't eat for a few days, we would be really cranky. We would be really like cranky, like evil bad. They'd be like, I need food. I haven't eaten for 3 days. I am going to slap somebody if I don't get some food right now. I need food. Where's my food?
If I don't give you some
Evil bad, you're gonna be fine. No, I'm not gonna be fine. I'm hungry. I need some food.
Yeah,
it's okay,
I'll
evil bad.
I'll get you some food here. get food. Never.
Oh man. Ugh. So
and Puppet Papa,
we can go without.
And Puppet Papa, you're not gonna get any food anymore too.
That's right. Now, let's say we got lost in the desert and we had to find our way home.
Because it's so hot and dangerous.
Yes. So what do we need if we needed to walk somewhere in the desert?
Someone to protect you.
Would we want to walk in the desert during the day or at night? What do you think?
Night.
Why?
Because it's not sunny.
Yeah, so it's colder at night, right? In fact, in some deserts it gets really cold at night and really hot during the day, right? But you definitely want to, if you had to walk somewhere in the desert, you would want to do it at night when it's not as hot, because when you're walking and exercising in the heat, it's very, very dangerous, right? Now, let me ask you guys this question, and this is kind of a funny one. If you're in the desert, there's one way. You're probably going to be thirsty all the time, right? But there's one way to tell for there's one way to tell for sure whether you need to drink more water or whether you're okay. Who knows what that is?
100%?
Well, not 100%. Well, a very good way of telling whether or not you need to drink more water or whether. Who knows? Let me tell you guys, are you ready? It's a little gross, but I'm going to tell you. When you pee, if you're, when you pee, if your pee is like really dark, like a dark color, like a dark yellow or even a dark brown.
A dark blue.
Do you have dark blue pee, Eitan?
No, I do sometimes.
You have dark blue pee? Do you really have dark blue pee?
Like your shirt.
Yeah, sure.
No. See, like your eye here, like not like this part. Like,
Usually,
the green part.
Usually, our pee is kind of like a light yellow, right?
Yeah, it's like yellow.
It's kind of gross, but it's true. Our pee is kind of a light yellow. But if your pee is really calm down. If your pee is really dark, it means that you're not getting enough water, right? So that's one way you can tell. Like if you're in a really hot environment, like in the desert, and then you pee and you look at your pee and your pee is dark, that's bad news. That's a really bad sign. You need to drink more water. If your pee is kind of like a light color, like clear or light yellow, then you're okay, right? Gross. Pee. Gross.
Hey.
All right. Yeah, cut it out. I'm gonna drink some more water.
Hey, no, you can't. No. Wait, it's closed. I'll give you some more after I open it.
Let's.
Here.
Let's go back and see if we can remember. Who remembers for a camel?
Wait, guys, could you, after you drink some water, could you do?
Okay, ready? The camel has something on its back where the camel stores fat and water, energy and water, right? What's that called? Who remembers? A hump.
Yeah, hey, you have a hump too.
It's called a hump.
Hey, look, here's your hump.
Yeah. And we're gonna learn a new word, you guys. Dove, can you give me that sheet of paper that's right over there, please? We're gonna learn a new word, okay? The word of the day. Can I have that sheet of paper, please? Can I have it? Who can read this word for me? Who can read that word?
Size. Say yo.
Oasis, right? It's a kind of a cool word. What does it mean? Who can guess? What does oasis mean? What does it mean? Lali? I don't know what that is. Is that like a word in Hebrew?
No, lali. Hey, Lali, it's Puppet's proper name. His name is Lali Safuta Katuri.
All right. So listen up, guys. I'm gonna tell you what oasis is, right?
Actually, his name is Mr.
be quiet for 1 second.
I'm
I'm going to tell you what oasis is. In the desert, in some places there are rivers that run underground. Calm down or I'm going to ask you to leave, okay? There are rivers that run underground. Yes, and in some places that water comes up to the surface. So there's actually like a little pool of water in the middle of the desert that's appearing because there's an underground river where the water is coming to the surface, right? And that's really unusual, right? Because we know that in the desert, there's almost no water at all. So when we find a pool of water like that in the middle of the desert, oh my God, this is amazing. Oh, look what I found over there. It's an oasis. Oh, there's water and there's a palm tree. That's amazing, right? It's very, very unusual. So an oasis is a place in the desert that has this unusual water and shade, and it's very, very amazing when you can find something like that, right? Because you can be there, you can relax there, you can drink water there, you can have shade there. It's something that you almost would never find in the desert. And we use that word oasis who remembers yesterday we were talking about teamwork? We talked about two words that work together to help us describe things. Who remembers what those words were? Anybody remember? If I said Wyatt's shirt is green like a cucumber, what was that word called? Who remembers? A simile, right? And if I said, Eitan, you eat so much, you're a whale. Yeah? What is that word when you
My dad eats way more than me.
Does he? So that word when you say something is like literally something else, like Dove.
I'm so fast.
That word is called a metaphor, right? A metaphor is when we compare something directly to something else. So an oasis is can be a metaphor when we talk about things. Like for example, like a quiet place in your room where you have some just peace and quiet to yourself.
Papa, do you have like a piece or something
Quiet to nobody.
It can, a place where nobody can bother you, a place where it's just
to see you.
you can nobody can see you. You can just kind of rest there by yourself. Your parents are not going to bug you about doing homework and cleaning up your room. It's just a place where you can have some time to yourself, right? It's a place of rest. We can call that an oasis, right? Like an unusual private place all to yourself where you can rest and relax. Just like an oasis in the middle of the desert where you have a pool of water in the middle of all this hot sand and super hot sun and snakes and camels and blowing wind and sand. All of a sudden you have this pool of water, this beautiful pool of clear blue water, and you have some palm trees and you have some shade. It's a place where you can find some rest from the hot, intense environment of the desert, right? It's called an oasis, right? It's called an oasis. It's a place where you can find some peace and some refuge and some shelter. Can you guys tell me, do you guys have an oasis in your house? What's your little oasis at home? Eitan?
I don't know.
You don't have one? Lisa, what about you? Do you have a little oasis at home?
I don't know.
No? Do you have like a little tent or a fort or like a special spot on the couch? Wyatt, what about you, buddy? What do you have at home?
I have a couch, like a couch where it can be quiet.
You have a couch where you like to sit, where you can find some quiet?
Yes.
That's really good. That's awesome. Very, very good. Can you guys tell me, has anybody ever been to the desert?
I did.
Yeah, where have you been, Dove?
Really?
To Israel, to Burning Man.
That's right. Dove has been to Israel and to Burning Man, and both of those places have desert.
I went to Mexico and Israel.
Uh-huh, that's right. And both of those places have desert as well. What about you, Lisa? Have you been to the desert?
Yes, I did. Did you take candy? No.
No? You haven't been to the desert?
Into the desert.
Yeah. Do you guys know in Eitan in Israel, there's a place like a fortress, like a castle at the top of a mountain. Do you remember what that's called?
A house?
No, it's like a fort, like a
Pyramid.
it's not a pyramid. It's at the top of a mountain in Israel. It starts with letter M.
It's definitely
Masada.
Masada, that's right. There's a place in Israel called Masada. It's an ancient fortress that was built in the desert on the top of a mountain, right? And Dov and I hiked up that mountain. We went all the way up the steps, and we hiked all the way up that mountain. We took a huge bottle of water with us, so that because it was very hot, we had to make sure that we drink a lot of water, right? And we also took some chocolate with us, right?
yeah.
And then when we got to the top, and after we came to the bottom, what did you have, Dov? Dov had some ice cream, right? Because it was a big deal, right? Awesome. Very cool, guys. Well, it was very nice to talk with you about the desert. Who remembers a couple of words that we learned today? What's the place called? The place of rest and peace that you can find in the desert with water and shade. What's it called? What's it called? Who remembers? An oasis. An oasis, right? And the thing on the back of the camel, where the camel stores water and fat, what's that called? A hump, right? It's called a hump. Very, very good. Good. And when you're in the desert, if you have to walk somewhere, what time of the day should you walk? Should you walk in the middle of the day when the sun is way overhead?
No.
No? What time should you walk, Lisa?
Tomorrow?
You should walk tomorrow?
No. In the night?
In the night, that's right, Eitan. You should walk at night when it's much cooler, when you're not going to be so hot. And the last thing, you guys, the kind of gross thing that we talked about. How do you know if you need to drink more water?
If your pee is dark brown or dark yellow.
Yes, that's right, Dove. If you have dark pee, if you have dark brown or dark yellow pee, that means you're not drinking enough water. But if your pee is like clear or light yellow, that means you're okay. So remember that next time you pee.
When you be done talking.
Right now, that's it. Thank you for being with us. We're going to sign off and we will see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you.